New York City is one of the most popular places for tourism in the world, and there are a ton of videos out there about what you should do when you visit. But knowing what not to do is just as important. So I'm here to share the top 5 things you should not do when you visit New York City.
If you're new here, my name's Hannah. I live here in New York City and I make videos like these as well as some lifestyle vlogs. So if you enjoyed this one, please subscribe and check out some more. I'm really happy to have you here. Let's get into the video. Don't do all of your shopping at chain stores. A lot of people come here and they want to go to Macy's and Bloomingdale's and Saks Fifth Avenue, and I get it, especially Macy's. I know Macy's Herald Square is iconic. It's the largest Macy's in the world. They have the Thanksgiving parade, all of that. But all in all, it's just a Macy's. According to a Google search that I did 5 minutes ago, there are 508 Macy's in the United States right now. You can find department stores literally anywhere else in the world, so while you're here, you should do some shopping that is more exclusive to New York City. We have really incredible local boutiques, specialty stores, and flea markets here, so go check out Macy's real quick and then spend the rest of your time going to these places instead. Artisan Fleas in Williamsburg and Brooklyn Flea and Dumbo are 2 of my favorite places to shop. Chelsea Market is great too, and you don't even have to venture outside of Manhattan for that one. We have a ton of great vintage and thrift stores around the city. My personal favorite is L Train Vintage. They have several locations and a really big selection of really high quality pieces that are in good condition, and it's really reasonably priced.
So all of that being said, I really suggest that you find a unique piece from a New York City-based designer to remember your trip by instead of something that you can get literally anywhere else. This bag, which is a little beat up now because I've used it so much, it's from Zulia Huipa, who is New York City-based, and it is one of my favorite things that I own. I wear this ring multiple times a week. I got it from Kath Merritt Concept, which is another New York City small business. This t-shirt is from Lola Star. It's so cute, it's so soft, there are so many designs. There are just so many great souvenirs that you can find from local makers. I'll link all these things in the description for you. This is not sponsored or anything like that. I just really feel passionately about supporting these businesses. They post on their social media where they're gonna be set up, so just check that out when you're coming and see where to go find it if you're interested in any of these specific items or makers.
Don't underestimate how much walking you're gonna do here and how much time you're gonna have to spend outside. I am definitely someone that before I moved here, when I relied on a car, I didn't always dress as warm as I should have in the winter time because dealing with a hat, scarf, gloves, all of that just seemed like too much to just be outside for the length of time that it took me to walk from the parking lot to the door of wherever I was going.
But here, that is not a good idea. You need all of this if it is really cold out. The hat, scarf, the gloves, maybe some gloves with fingers, the whole works. If it's summer, you're gonna wanna be dressed something like this. It gets really hot and steamy out there, and not just outside, but on the subway platforms is the worst. And also, don't forget your sunscreen, very important.
Let's say that you're not even planning on being out exploring the city on foot. You're just gonna go from your hotel to dinner and a show on the subway. You're gonna be outside when you're walking from the hotel to the subway, from the subway to the restaurant, from the restaurant to the theater, from the theater back to the subway, then from the subway to your hotel. That's a lot of time spent outside. It's also a lot of time spent on foot. Speaking of all of that walking, footwear is arguably even more important than the weather appropriate clothing. Now is not the time to break out that really cute pair of heels that you rarely get to wear. You need really, really comfortable sneakers or boots. This took a lot of trial and error for me when I first moved here. I had shoes that I thought were really comfortable, but I quickly found out they were not good enough for all of the walking that I was regularly doing.
Any type of running shoe will of course be great. If you want to level up and be a tad cuter, I have these Air Force One Pixels that are just my favorite shoe. They're like my day-to-day shoe. This is my 2nd pair of them. Could not recommend them more. I've gotten a lot of use out of these Clark's black booties. I've worn them for miles and miles and miles. They're great for work or when you want to look a little nicer than wearing a sneaker, and these have never done me wrong. In the summertime, if you do want to wear some sort of sandal, I would highly recommend staying away from flip-flops, any kind of shoe like that. Not only are your feet going to be in a lot of pain very quickly, they're also going to get really dirty out on the New York City sidewalks. If you want to wear a sandal, I would recommend something like this. These are Chacos. They have a lot of arch support, and I find them really comfortable for summertime wear.
Just jumping in here real quick to say that I do actually have another video on my channel like this one that I made almost 2 years ago now. So if you want to see some other New York City don'ts and also see me acting way more awkward and uncomfy on camera than I am now, go check that one out. Don't block the escalator. Look, I'm really not trying to be condescending. Sometimes I feel like tips like this one can come across that way. I really don't mean it. I just genuinely don't think that this is as much of a thing in many, many other places, particularly rural ones. And I see it happening all the time. So let's talk about it. If you are planning to stand on the escalator and let the escalator do all the work, you should be standing to the right side. The left side needs to be left open for people who want to walk up the escalator and pass you to get to where they're going faster. This isn't necessarily exclusive to New York. It's common in major cities to have a walking side and a standing side, but sometimes it's flipped to the other way. Like in Tokyo, you stand on the left side and walk on the right side. So just to reiterate, New York City escalator etiquette: stand on the right, walk on the left. Please don't take a horse-drawn carriage or pedicab ride. I most frequently see these in Central Park, and they're just not a good idea. For one, they are very, very expensive. The horse-drawn carriage ride can run you about $120 for 30 minutes, and sometimes even more. These really aren't regulated at all. They can charge whatever they want. For the pedicabs, I have seen them charge $4 or $5 a minute for a ride. That is completely unreasonable. You can enjoy Central Park just as well, if not better, on foot.
Another more important thing about the carriage rides is that they're just not ethical. Many of the horses are being neglected and mistreated by their handlers, and Manhattan is just not a great place for a horse in the first place. There have been incidents of horses being so tired and overworked that they collapse on the street and sometimes pass away. And there have been even more instances of a horse getting spooked by a loud noise or something like that and causing an accident. In my opinion, horses are beautiful animals that should just be living their lives out on a farm somewhere and being happy, not pulling tourists around Manhattan. I've linked some articles in the description so you can read up on this for yourself, but just a warning, it is pretty disturbing. So if you don't feel that you're in a place to be able to handle that right now, proceed with caution and don't read if you don't feel able.
I've saved what really might be the very most important thing on this list for last, and that is to not over-plan. I spend some time each week looking at subreddits and Facebook groups for New York City tourism to see what you guys are asking about and what your concerns are. And a lot of the time people post their itineraries on these groups for feedback. And the majority of the time, these itineraries are stacked completely full, sometimes to the point where they're just not even doable. For one, if you try to fit in all of these things, you are going to be miserably tired. It is better to do less and enjoy it more. What if you end up really enjoying one particular attraction that you go to and you want to spend more time there, but you can't because you have something else scheduled that you have to get to right away?
Having some downtime is not only okay, it is preferable. So let's say you have some time in between when you finish visiting the Brooklyn Bridge and when you've booked your visit at the Empire State Building. Just start wandering the island in roughly the right direction and see what you come across. You are definitely gonna walk by some cute shops you wanna go in, or you're gonna see somewhere that has a picture of a dessert on the window that looks really delicious that you wanna try. And you don't wanna miss out on these things because you have your schedule so tightly packed. Make sure to leave some time for some spontaneity. I promise you the best parts of your trip are likely to be unplanned.
Thank you so much for watching. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it for me, and go watch the other one of these videos I made a couple years ago. See you soon.